So today we're going to do something light. I'm going to show you all my top 10 favorite books of all time. Let's get started. Number 10 is technically not a book in of itself. It's a collection of short stories, but it is the complete collection of H.P. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft does a lot of cosmic horror, and if you like villains that can't really be beat, this is for you. Of course, Cthulhu is his most well-known, but I personally like The Color of Outer Space. It's mostly about a family who lives on a farm, and something from outer space crashes down into their farm, and because of this, a lot of bad things start to happen. I'm not going to ruin it, but it is a fantastic and very unique short story, and I highly recommend it. Number 9 is an absolute classic. It is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I read this every year, and I know a lot of people are not a Dickens fan, and honestly, I'm not either. But I love this story so much, I actually have the signed copy of the illustrator, not Charles Dickens, of the Easton Press version. So it has just amazing, amazing illustrations in it, and this is just a really heartwarming story that I read every Christmas to get me in the mood for the holiday. So if you're a Christmas person, I recommend it. Number 8 is different from number 9. It is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. This is an amazing story. Don't let the horror aspect fool you. It is a great story about grief and overcoming it. I love Stephen King because he takes real world problems and turns them into horror. So this is an absolute, it's a classic. It's actually my first Stephen King novel that I ever read, and again, highly recommend. Number 7, a lot of people actually don't like, but I particularly love The Great Gatsby. I just love the era of the flappers and the 1920s, and I like the writing style. Now, the story, it's okay. I love the character Gatsby. I think he is a great character. The character Daisy, not so much. But you've got to take the good with the bad, which is why this is on the lower end of the list, though it's still really good. My number 6 is another classic, Frankenstein. Now, a lot of people see this book and they think it's something and it's not because of all the movies. All the movies are extremely different from the book, and I highly recommend the book because it really talks about playing God, and it talks about really comparing the monster versus the man. And I could do a whole video about this one. When in the movies, the Frankenstein's monster is portrayed as the monster, but when you read the books, you realize that it's much, much deeper than that. So if you're looking for something with a little bit of moral ambiguity and something to make you think, Frankenstein is definitely it. My number 5 is To Kill a Mockingbird, and I actually love it so much I have the graphic novel as well. To Kill a Mockingbird is an amazing story about racism in the South in the 1960s. It's written from a child's perspective, which I absolutely love because it has that sense of innocence and really just not understanding the undertones and what's going on racism wise. But it's an amazing take, and the fact that she wrote it from a child's perspective, I think it brings a very unique flavor to it. Number 4 choice is Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. I absolutely love this take on vampires. I love the lore, and I love the fact that she makes vampires complex beings and relatable somehow and empathetic, even though they are these mythical, impossible beings that have impossible powers, you still connect with them. And that is an absolute amazing thing. My number three choice is It by Stephen King. Although it's long, it is absolutely a piece of art. It has six different perspectives and two different timelines, but it still flows extremely well. It deals a lot with grief and overcoming fear. Even though it's a horror novel, I absolutely recommend it because it is not just a horror novel. It has so much more to it. My second choice is The Hobbit by J.R. Tolkien. Now, this is actually the Easton Press collector's edition. I have all of the Lord of the Rings collector's editions and the Cerulean. I absolutely love the series. It is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, fantasy series of all time. I love the writing style, the adventure aspect. It is a great read. And number one, my final choice is my favorite book of all time, Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. I actually own the graphic novel version as well. Um, it is an amazing mental health book that deals with war and PTSD. I could do a whole video just on it. It is absolutely fantastic. For anyone who loves, oh gosh, I don't even know what category to put it in. Technically, it's satire, but it's so much more than that. It really delves into mental health and just human emotion. I highly recommend for everyone just to learn a new perspective, if nothing else. So, those are my top 10 choices. What do you think? Do you agree with my order? Do you think any of them should have been taken out or replaced? I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Thanks.